Hello aspirants, welcome to GDC English classes and welcome to Pharma 360 degree MCQ series. And in this session we will discuss ANS MCQs part 2. Already done with ANS part 1 MCQs. So the video already posted in our channel. If you not gone through, so please go through it and come to here for ANS part 2. And I hope you are enjoying our videos regarding the content as well as information. If anything is there, let us know. It's our responsibility to make the changes according to your response as well as feedback. So let into the session. First MCQ from this ANS part 2. Cholinergic muscarinic receptor stimulation produces the following effect except sweating, vasoconstriction, nothing but vasocontraction, bradycardia, lacrimation. So cholinergic muscarinic. So cholinergic system from the parasympathetic nervous system. So this cholinergic system containing muscarinic receptor as well as a nicotinic receptor. So there are five types of muscarinic receptor, all are G protein coupled receptor. There are two types of nicotinic receptor, all are ion channel receptors. And here muscarinic receptor having the acetylcholine as a neurotransmitter. This acetylcholine promote the sweating, but acetylcholine on the blood vessel with help of a type 3 muscarinic receptor produces vasodilation by releasing nitric oxide. This nitric oxide is also known as EDRF, endothelium derived relaxing factor. And acetylcholine on heart bradycardia, decrease heartbeat, number of heartbeat, and urination, acetylcholine promotes urination. The simple answer is vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction generally caused by sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic acetylcholine through type 3 muscarinic receptors on the blood vessel causes vasodilation by releasing nitric oxide, a vasodilator, also known as EDRF, endothelium derived relaxing factor. The answer is option B. That is the simple answer. Next, second question here about cholinergic nicotinic receptor stimulation produces the following effects except rise in blood pressure, bradycardia, tachycardia, relaxation of fiber. The before MCQ is mainly focused on the cholinergic system muscarinic receptor effect. Now it is a discussion of cholinergic system nicotinic receptor. Nicotinic receptors are ion channel receptors. They are nicotinic muscle type, nicotinic neuronal or ganglionic type, NMNN. So these are ion channels. So this when especially NN receptors are stimulated, the stimulation of ganglia activate both sympathetic parasympathetic ganglia will may cause increase in blood pressure, bradycardia, no. Stimulation of nicotinic receptor increase the heart rate, tachycardia, and relaxation of fibers. Okay, generally here cholinergic nicotinic receptor stimulation produce the following effects except will goes to the bradycardia. It does not, nicotinic receptor does not cross bradycardia. Muscarinic receptors causes bradycardia. Answer is bradycardia. Next, go to the mathematical. Third MCQ. In which organ system muscarinic receptors not found? Five types of muscarinic receptor. All muscarinic receptors are belongs to G protein coupled receptor. Here they asking that among which there is a no muscarinic receptors present located. Smooth muscles, yes, all smooth muscles generally containing muscarinic receptor. Urinary bladder containing type 3 muscarinic receptor. Adrenal medulla and GI smooth muscle. All types of smooth muscle commonly having muscarinic receptor. Here general smooth muscle of iris eye is a smooth muscle and GI a smooth muscle, urinary bladder a smooth muscle. And here it is adrenal medulla, part of adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is a composed of two layers, adrenal cortex, adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex releases corticosteroids, steroidal hormones. Adrenal medulla releases catecholamines like adrenaline, noradrenaline as well as dopamine, but it releases adrenaline. So adrenal medulla does not containing muscarinic receptor. Adrenal medulla containing nicotinic receptor. Especially when a person smoked, it releases nicotine into the body. That nicotine stimulated nicotinic receptors on the adrenal medulla and releases adrenaline. Okay, answer is the adrenal medulla. Next, here the question is the following are muscarinic effects except following are the muscarinic effects except. So muscarinic receptors effects are mentioned here, but what is the exception not belongs to muscarinic receptor effect? Decreased heart rate, muscarinic receptor acetylcholine decrease heart rate, bronchoconstriction, yes, acetylcholine causes bronchial constriction, dryness of mouth. Generally, acetylcholine stimulates the salivary glands, increases salivary secretion, but does not cause dryness of mouth. Dryness of mouth because of decreasing salivary secretion. Next, relax trigone and sphincter. Relaxation of trigone and sphincter increase the urination. Urination promoted by muscarinic effect. But here, dryness of mouth. Generally, salivary secretion increases, it may increase the wetness of mouth. But dryness of mouth is not a effect of muscarinic receptor or acetylcholine. Dryness of mouth is affected because of muscarinic antagonist like atropine. Muscarinic antagonist produces dryness of mouth, but muscarinic agonist or muscarinic mimetics produce stimulation of salivary secretion and causes wetness of mouth. The answer is the dryness of mouth. So all are muscarinic effects except is dryness of mouth. Next is methacholine has maximum agonistic action at which of the following cholinergic receptors? For example, there is a carbachol, drugs like carbachol, methanicol, bethanicol. So I hope you know that acetylcholine not used clinically because of this acetylcholine having short half-life. It can easily metabolize in presence of acetylcholine esterase. So that's why drugs like carbachol, methanicol, bethanicol are substituted in presence of acetylcholine. So acetylcholine substituted by these drugs because these drugs having longer half-life compared to acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is a quaternary ammonium compound. Quaternary ammonium compounds are having poor absorption and distribution. Quaternary ammonium compounds are cationic, they are polar in nature, ionized molecule. Ionized molecules are having poor absorption distribution throughout body fluids and membranes. And drugs like acetylcholine, they are unable to cross placental barrier as well as blood-brain barrier because of their hydrophilic nature and their ionized compounds. Ionized compounds are having poor absorption and penetration. So here methacholine is a drug similar to the acetylcholine but having long half-life compared to acetylcholine. Methanicol is selected towards M1, M2, M3, M4. Methacholine is acts on the M2 receptor. Methacholine is acts like a acetylcholine. Acetylcholine on the M2 receptor. M2 receptor located on the heart. Stimulation of M2 receptor in presence of acetylcholine or acetylcholine like drugs decrease the heart rate because parasympathetic nervous system on the cardiac muscle, relaxation of cardiac muscle and decreasing the heartbeat as well as decreasing blood pressure. When coming to sympathetic nervous system on heart, contraction of cardiac muscle, increase the blood pressure. Okay, so the answer is simply methacholine has maximum agonistic action at the M2 receptor. Next. So, muscarinic receptors are G protein coupled receptors causing. As I mentioned earlier, there are nearly 5 types of muscarinic receptors are there. All are belong to G protein coupled receptor. Generally, M1 present in the CNS and gastric glands, M2 heart, M3 all types of glands and all types of smooth muscle, and M4, M5 also having their location in the central nervous system. So here muscarinic receptors are the G protein coupled receptors, so they can cause inactivation of phospholipase, activation of adenyl cyclase, activation of potassium or inhibition calcium channels, all of this. Generally, parasympathetic nervous system acetylcholine generally it stimulates phospholipase, DAC-IP3 phospholipase pathway. Does not involve in the activation of adenyl cyclase, and it is may involves in the activation of potassium or inhibition of calcium channel. So answer will goes to the option C, activation of potassium or inhibition of calcium channels. So muscarinic receptors are G protein coupled receptors. They may cause, the answer is the option C. Next. Which of the following statement is false? Hemicolinium prevent the release of acetylcholine from the storage vesicles. Botulinum toxin block the release of acetylcholine from presynapse to postsynapse. Hemicholinum block choline uptake. Vesamicol inhibit the vesicular uptake. So vesamicol is one of the drug target the acetylcholine biosynthesis by preventing its storage in the synaptic vesicles. If the neurotransmitter like acetylcholine not stored in the synaptic vesicle, it may degrade easily. So, Vasomical inhibit the vesicular uptake of acetylcholine. Hemicholinum block choline uptake. Generally, acetylcholine degrade to acetylcholine metabolized in presence of acetylcholine esterase to acetate plus choline. To acetate plus choline. So, again this choline will reuptake for further acetylcholine synthesis. This choline again reuptake for further acetylcholine synthesis. So, hemicholinum block choline uptake, reuptake of choline, and by inhibiting this reuptake, prevent the synthesis of acetylcholine. And hemicholinum prevents release of acetylcholine from storage vesicles. So, this is wrong. And botulinum toxin block the acetylcholine release. This is the right. So, among these all, the wrong one is the hemicholinum prevents the release of acetylcholine from the storage vesicles. This will done by the botulinum toxin. Generally, hemicholinum will block reuptake of choline for again resynthesis of acetylcholine. So, by inhibiting reuptake of choline, we can decrease the acetylcholine biosynthesis in huge levels of acetylcholine or excess biosynthesis of acetylcholine in the body. The answer is the hemicholinum prevent the release of acetylcholine from the storage vesicles is a false statement. Next, which of the following is drug of choice for belladonna poisoning? So, atropa belladonna gives atropine, one of the natural tropine alkaloid having anti-muscarinic activity. So, options like physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, prolidoxim. Prolidoxim is a oxime halonucleophilic derivative, and this prolidoxim is a enzyme reactivator. It can reactivate the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. And pyridostigmine, one of the drug, helps in the treatment of myasthenia gravis. Neostigmine, it can stimulate NM receptor. It is also part of treatment of myasthenia gravis. And physostigmine is an substitute for belladonna poisoning or belladonna overdose. Okay. Physostigmine is an indirectly acting acetylcholine esterase enzyme inhibitor. Inhibit the acetylcholine esterase enzyme, increase the half-life of acetylcholine, and it helps in the treatment of belladonna poisoning. Belladonna poisoning nothing but a overdose of atropine or excess accumulation of atropine in the body. Atropine is an anti-muscarinic drug, block the all types of muscarinic receptor and decrease the parasympathogenic acetylcholine function in the body. Next. So like this MCQs are very interesting and curious. Let's have a discussion on this MCQ. Read the following statement about cholinergic drug. Okay, so what they mention, acetylcholine caused vasodilation by releasing nitric oxide. Yes, acetylcholine with help of type 3 muscarinic receptors on the blood vessel causes vasodilation, dilation or relaxation of blood vessel by releasing nitric oxide by binding to M3 muscarinic receptors on the blood vessel. Produce vasocontraction and causing increase in blood pressure. So cholinergic drugs. Cholinergic drugs nothing but parasympathomimetics like acetylcholine, methanicol, carbachol, etc. Parasympathomimetics causes vasodilation but does not cause vasoconstriction. Relax the detrusor muscle of urinary bladder. Generally, with help of type 3 muscarinic receptors, acetylcholine contracts the detrusor muscle of urinary bladder, promote the urination. So, among this, which one are true? Acetylcholine causes vasodilation, that is true, and Q, R are incorrect. So here you can clearly observe only Q is correct, Q is actually wrong, P is correct and remaining two are incorrect. P, yes, acetylcholine causes vasodilation by releasing nitric oxide, and vasoconstriction is a false, and relaxation of detrusor muscle also false. So acetylcholine with help of type 3 muscarinic receptors on the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a smooth muscle. All types of smooth muscles are innervated by parasympathetic nervous system type 3 muscarinic receptor. So all smooth muscles containing type 3 muscarinic receptor causes contraction of smooth muscle, exception blood vessel. So acetylcholine causes contraction of all types of smooth muscle, exception blood vessel. Blood vessel is also smooth muscle. Why blood vessel is dilated? Through acetylcholine, when bind to M3 receptor, it releasing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. Okay, so the answer is simply P is correct and remaining two are incorrect. Okay, so you can clearly observe what is a Q, what is a Q, what is a R. Next, which of the following direct acting cholinomimetic has shortest duration of action? The answer is very simple. If you followed our previous MCQs, which of the following is very shortest action? So definitely acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol, bethanechol. Acetylcholine clinically not useful because of its short half-life. It readily metabolized in presence of acetylcholine esterase enzyme. It having poor absorption distribution in the body fluids and membranes due to its cationic nature, due to its polar nature. This acetylcholine unable to cross blood-brain barrier as well as placental barrier because of polar nature. Placental barrier, blood-brain barrier allows only lipid-soluble drugs, lipophilic substances. Okay, so the answer is simply acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the shortest duration among these direct acting cholinomimetics. So direct acting cholinomimetics, indirect acting cholinomimetics. Direct acting cholinomimetics, they directly bind to the muscarinic receptors and shows the action. Indirect acting drugs, first they have to inhibit acetylcholine esterase enzyme. By inhibition of acetylcholine esterase enzyme, there is a decreasing acetylcholine degradation and increasing acetylcholine levels. This acetylcholine will bind to the receptors and shows the pharmacological action. Which of the following properties make pyridostigmine different from the neostigmine? Which of the following properties make pyridostigmine different from the neostigmine? More potent orally, long acting, produce less muscarinic side effects, does not have any direct action on the NM receptor. Definitely, neostigmine having direct action on the NM receptor. Neostigmine can stimulate NM receptor, helps in the treatment of myasthenia gravis, and produce less muscarinic side effects. Long duration, more potent. Generally, long duration is one of the factors making pyridostigmine different from the neostigmine. Generally, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, physostigmine, rivastigmine, all these are comes under the indirectly acting parasymptomimetics, means they initially inhibit the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. By inhibiting acetylcholine esterase enzyme, they increase the levels of acetylcholine. That acetylcholine will bind to the receptor, nothing but muscarinic receptor, and shows the action, nothing but pharmacological action. Okay, so here answer is simply that is longer acting. It is a longer acting. Pyridostigmine is longer acting. This is a property differentiating pyridostigmine from the neostigmine. Okay, both are indirectly acting parasympathetic. Initially, they have to inhibit the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. After that, increasing acetylcholine will bind to the receptor and shows the action. So, pilocarpine is a muscarinic cholinergic drug, nicotinic cholinergic drug, alpha adrenergic drug, beta adrenergic drug. So, pilocarpine is a parasympathomimetic, shows action similar to acetylcholine. So, it does not having action on alpha receptor, beta receptor. It does not having action on nicotinic receptor. Pilocarpine is a parasympathomimetic, stimulate the muscarinic receptor as a agonist. Pilocarpine is naturally from the source of Pilocarpus jaborandi as well as Pilocarpus microphyllus. Pilocarpus microphyllus. And this pilocarpine belong to the family Rutaceae, and this pilocarpine naturally biosynthesis by using histidine, because pilocarpine containing imidazole as a heterocyclic nucleus. So like this you have to study. So even definitely we are going to launch a new series of we can study some drugs. We can study, for example, pilocarpine. What is its pharmacognosy? What is its medicinal chemistry? What is its pharmacology? Because nearly more than 40% questions in GPAT from this three subjects like pharmacology, pharmacognosy, medicinal chemistry. Definitely combination, because like this study will change your SAR, structural activity relationship of your focusness. Definitely improves your brain capacity to remember the things at a time, like pilocarpine, digitalis, morphine, many number of drugs are there, nearly more than 30 to 40 drugs, some important drugs. We can study cognosy, ecology, medicinal chemistry, because more than 40% questions in the 125 GPAT questions are from these three subjects only. You have to give that much importance. Definitely, it's my responsibility. I will make the things more easy. I will make the basics concepts in the form of lipophilic, and lipophilic can easily crosses your blood-brain barrier and stays long time in your blood-brain barrier. Okay. Yes. Simply pilocarpine is a muscarinic cholinergic drug. Here, neostigmine is not able to cross blood-brain barrier because simple logic. Quaternary ammonium compounds are cationic in nature, polar in nature. They having poor absorption distribution in the body fluids and body membranes, nothing biological membranes, and polar substance unable to cross blood-brain barrier, placental barrier. So, primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure. Tertiary amines, lipophilic in nature, can easily crosses. Quaternary ammonium compounds. Quaternary ammonium compounds they are cationic in nature. They are they are cationic in nature. They are polar in nature. They may that leads to drug become ionized. Ionized molecules are having poor absorption distribution in the body fluids as well as biological membranes, and including placental barrier as well as a blood-brain barrier. So the answer is neostigmine is a quaternary ammonium compound. Because of that, it is not easily crossing the body fluids membranes, biological membranes, placental barrier also, blood-brain barrier also. Answer is quaternary ammonium compound, quaternary structure. Next, which one of the following is a lipid-soluble cholinergic drug? So, Tacrin, generally a drug of choice for treatment of Alzheimer's, nowadays not using because of its hepatotoxicity. Neostigmine, it is a drug of choice for treatment of Myasthenia gravis. Muscarin, muscarin is a natural alkaloid. Muscarin is a natural alkaloid from the Amanita muscaria, a mushroom species. Amanita muscaria. Amanita muscaria will give a alkaloid muscarin. Based on the name of muscarin only, the muscarinic receptors got named. The naming of muscarinic receptors from the muscarin. Muscarin is a natural alkaloid. It is a parasymptomatic from Amanita muscaria, a mushroom species. And tauben. Tauben is one of the indirectly acting parasymptomatic. It is comes under nerve gas. It is indirectly acting parasymptomatic. Shows action like acetylcholine. It inhibits the acetylcholine esterase enzyme like neostigmine. So the answer is simply Tacrin. So Tacrin is a lipid soluble drug. Generally, Tacrin is for treatment of Alzheimer's disease. It is the first drug coming to the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. Nowadays, not using because of its hepatotoxicity. And Tacrin is a chemically acridine. Tacrin is a chemically acridine. All the cholinomimetic alkaloid except one, which is a choline ester. All the cholinomimetic alkaloids. All are the cholinomimetic alkaloids means they mimic the action of acetylcholine. Exception will goes to pilocarpine, carbachol, muscarin, ericholine. Ericholine natural alkaloid from the erica nut, simply known as betel nut, like tambaku, tamalapaku. Muscarin from the Amanita muscaria. Because of muscarin only, the muscarinic receptors are named. Carbachol, it is a chemical derivative. Pilocarpine also natural alkaloid. So the answer is carbachol. All are alkaloids from the natural derivatives. Exception goes to the carbachol. It is a chemical derivative. It is a carbamate. Okay. Generally, this is the structure of acetate. This is the structure of a acetate. Okay, CH3. Okay, and generally here it is a carbamate. Here it is a carbamate. So instead of CH3 there is amine group, and instead of CH3 there is a amine group. So because of amine group they are known as carbamates. Carbamates are less hydrolyzed by acetylcholine esterase. Acetates are easily hydrolyzed by acetylcholine esterase. That's why acetylcholine having short half-life. But carbachol like drugs are having carbamate structure. Carbamates not easily hydrolyzed. They having long half-life compared to acetylcholine. And acetylcholine not clinically successful because of its rapid hydrolysis and its low half-life. Next. Which of the following cholinomimetics activate both muscarinic and nicotinic receptor? Lobeline, known as Indian tobacco, asthma weed, also known as asthma weed, and pilocarpine, nicotine, bethanicol. So lobeline, pilocarpine, nicotine, bethanicol. So I hope you know the simple answer. So both muscarinic and nicotinic action is nicotine, because nicotinic can stimulate the muscarinic receptor as well as the sorry, muscarinic as well as nicotinic receptor. Generally, all muscarinic receptors are G protein coupled receptor. All nicotinic receptors are ion channel or ionotropic receptor. Two types of nicotinic receptors are there. Five types of muscarinic receptors are there. Next, the mechanism. The mechanism of action of indirect acting cholinomimetic agents. Binding to and activation of muscarinic or nicotinic receptor. We are asking indirect acting cholinomimetic. They mimic the acetylcholine function indirectly. Directly means directly bind to the receptor as a agonist or antagonist. And here cholinomimetics means agonist mimetics. Inhibition of hydrolysis of endogenous acetylcholine. Stimulation of action of acetylcholine esterase, releasing of acetylcholine from the storage site. So, indirect acting cholinomimetics like physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, rivastigmine, all these are indirectly acting cholinomimetics. Why? For example, acetylcholine, carbachol, methanicol, bethanicol, they directly stimulate the muscarinic receptor and they are directly acting cholinomimetics. When coming to indirectly acting drugs like rivastigmine, all stigmines, for example, they inhibit the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. By that, increase the levels of acetylcholine. That acetylcholine will bind to the receptor. Okay, so binding to and activation of muscarinic nicotinic receptors. No, inhibition of hydrolysis of endogenous acetylcholine. So by inhibiting acetylcholine esterase enzyme, they decrease the endogenous metabolism of acetylcholine and increase the acetylcholine levels. Stimulation of action of acetylcholine esterase. No, and releasing of acetylcholine from the storage sites. Okay, so the answer is simply option B. Inhibit the hydrolysis of acetylcholine by inhibiting acetylcholine esterase enzyme. Next, neostigmine is preferred over physostigmine for treating myasthenia gravis because of better absorption orally, long duration, penetrates blood-brain barrier, all of these. So neostigmine is preferred over physostigmine treating myasthenia gravis because generally neostigmine is a quaternary ammonium compound. Quaternary ammonium compound does not penetrate blood-brain barrier and it is better absorbed orally. So generally quaternary ammonium compounds are not having better absorption orally. Generally, so neostigmine helps in the treatment of myasthenia gravis, but its preference is because of long duration of action over physostigmine. Physostigmine quaternary ammonium compound may have short half-life, but neostigmine having long half-life, it is not suitable orally. It unable to cross the blood-brain barrier. It having long duration of action. It can directly stimulate the NM receptors also. So there are many stigmines like physostigmine, pyridostigmine, rivastigmine, but neostigmine can mimic the NM receptor. It can stimulate the NM receptors. It can stimulate the nicotinic muscle receptor and increase the muscle contraction, and it increase the acetylcholine by inhibiting the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. Next. So all are cholinergic agents except galantamine, donepezil, tacrine, memantine. Tacrine, it is a cholinomimetic, helps in the treatment of Alzheimer's. Donepezil, galantamine, all these three drugs are helps in the treatment of Alzheimer's by increasing acetylcholine levels by inhibit acetylcholine esterase enzyme and increase the half-life of acetylcholine is essential in treatment of Alzheimer's. And memantine also drug for treatment of Alzheimer's, but memantine is not a cholinomimetic. Memantine block NMDA receptor and helps in the treatment of Alzheimer's. Helps in the treatment of Alzheimer's by decrease excitotoxicity. Excitotoxicity. Excitotoxicity is nothing but excitotoxicity by increasing excitotoxicity. X nothing but excitation. So here toxicity of the cells due to excess excitation. NMDA increase the action of glutamate. NMDA increase the calcium influx. So this further increase the excess excitation of neurons. Excess excitation or excess stimulation of neurons may lead to neurodegeneration. So Alzheimer's is a neurodegenerative disease. So Alzheimer's is a neurodegenerative disease due to decrease in acetylcholine transmission in the CNS due to degeneration of cholinergic neurons in the central nervous system. So NMDA stimulation may causes degeneration of cholinergic neurons. That's why this memantine blocking or antagonizing the NMDA function and helps in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. Memantine blocks NMDA receptor. NMDA N-methyl D-aspartate. So NMDA is a glutamate ionotropic subtype like NMDA, AMPA. These two are ion channel receptors under subtype of glutamate ionotropic. Next, which one of the following is water soluble cholinergic drug? Pyridostigmino, donepezil, physostigmino, galantamine. Okay, pyridostigmino, donepezil, physostigmino, galantamine. So which one of the following is a water soluble cholinergic drug? That is simply pyridostigmine, and remaining all are not a hydrophilic in nature, nothing but water soluble in nature. Pyridostigmine, one of the stigmine. So all stigmines like pyridostigmine, physostigmine, rivastigmine, neostigmine, these are helps in the treatment of myasthenia gravis. They have to stimulate the skeletal muscle by increasing the acetylcholine level. So to have to increase acetylcholine levels, they have to inhibit the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. Okay. So this is regarding today our MCQ session on the Part 2 ANS MCQs. I hope you are getting the things, you are understanding the things, and you are getting the basics as well as concepts behind our pharmacology of ANS. If anything is there, let me know. Definitely I will make it correct. Thank you and all the best. Subscribe to GDC English classes. So believe in yourself. So go forward and all things are ready to granted for you and grab it.